Alright buddies, we are back looking at squiggly lines again, playing around with our tune. We're going to be talking all about the knock sensors right now. For starters, we're going to go into the calibration, and I'm going to go ahead and save another file. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that the knock sensors themselves, while they detect different amounts, they don't themselves determine the amount of knock. The computer, the ECU, is what interprets a lot of these values. There is a base noise level, which is essentially, where the knock sensor is calibrated to be listening in, like a range essentially. And then there is the actual knock sensor feedback, which is this red line, this knocks range H0, 1, 2, 3. As a reminder, 0 is cylinder 1, 1 is cylinder 2, 2 is 3, 3 is 4. Anytime that you see 0 through 3, that's typically what it's referring to. So we have those, and then we have this threshold value right here. We can tune the threshold and we can tune the noise levels. You'll notice that where knock is registered on cylinder 1 right here, it's because the knock range value or the knock sensor feedback went over the threshold, so it registered a knock event. But we're going to talk about these first few tables here. The initial knock correction, the cylinder strokes between knock decay steps. There's actually 2 tables for that. And the knock correction decay amount. You can change these without actually messing with the knock sensor sensitivity whatsoever. I am going to just follow the guide. This is in the Simos Tools user group on Facebook, and it explains this stuff very well. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of those changes to essentially cut this first table in half, because what's happening here, if we look at the log, it gets a little bit over the threshold and it immediately pulls 3 degrees of timing. It's pulling 3 degrees because that's what this table says to pull. Again, knock is either detected or it isn't. Now, if it were to detect knock, it pulls 3 degrees and it continues to detect knock. This knock feedback goes over the threshold value a second time, then it would continue pulling more timing. I believe it would pull another 3 degrees. So we can tune this. I'm going to follow the guide and literally just cut this whole table in half. And that is done. There we go. Now the cylinder strokes between decay steps. Once the knock happens, it has to go away at some point. It pulls timing. That's what's happening, is it's pulling timing on cylinder 1 initially. And you'll see this in the ignition table average. The ignition timing average, this red line right here, it went down by 0.75 degrees. That's because that's what the knock average value is right there. We pull that in. We can see knock average is 0.75 degrees across all 4 cylinders. So I'm not too worried about seeing the individual ignition curves for every cylinder, but if you really wanted to, you can pull those out of one of the giant PID lists. So it pulls 3 degrees and then it starts coming back. You start getting your timing back as time goes on. You can control how long this lasts between these decay steps, and then you can control how big of a decay step there is. So again, I'm following a general rough idea of the guide. I'm going to change this last cell to like 20, and I'm going to use the interpolate function. Execute, and it's basically going to blend those values in. That's how many revolutions the engine takes before it lessens the amount of ignition pull again. And I'm going to do the same thing here. This table's a little bit higher, so I'll do, 23. Sure, that sounds good. Alright, save that. And then the knock correction decay amount in the guide, it says to pull or to restore it at about 0.75 degrees. Now on this table here, you have how much knock there currently is detected, And based on that is how quickly it is going to restore between that and the RPMs. And honestly, if it pulls 6 degrees, I probably want it to be putting the ignition back a little bit faster than that, at least at lower RPMs. So I think right here I'm going to set those to about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 sounds good. Maybe 1 degree there. So yeah, whatever, that sounds good to me. So those are the 3 easy things that you can change without actually playing with the sensors. As far as the sensitivity goes, that's just, you're just controlling what is happening when knock is detected. So now we're going to look at this just a little bit more in depth. We're going to look at just cylinder number 1, since that's the one that knock is getting detected on. You'll notice that the noise level of the sensor, this is the normal expected noise, essentially. This is the noise that's being detected. And you can tune this value based off of the gain values for each cylinder. And there's a couple different of these for each under different circumstances. So these gains are when knock is detected, I believe. And I want to say that there might be some places where some box codes use one table and not the other, so I'm going to make changes to both of them. One quick note before we start fiddling with the knock sensor sensitivity. The noise level here, you'll notice how the thresholds follow the noise level for the most part. The threshold is comprised of the noise level plus the has to do with the noise level gains, and there's also an adder. It's explained in the guide here. But those thresholds, if they reach 4 volts, then the ability to detect knock it's compromised. It's a problem. So if your thresholds are going high, then you absolutely need to look at your noise level for your sensors and possibly tune those. Also, make sure that your motor mounts and everything are good. You don't have like a downpipe rattling or something like that. I've had a friend who he was getting a ton of knock, and literally is because his downpipe was loose and hitting the subframe. So keep that in mind when messing with these values. But essentially, by raising the gains on this value, you're going to lower the knock sensor voltage. Now, how do you know whether you should raise it or lower it? There is a hint in the calibration if you look at some of the stuff in the all XDF. At idle, it should have about 0.5 volts at 800 RPMs and about 1 volt. Am I looking at the wrong thing? And the noise level should be tuned to be around 1 volt at 6,000 RPMs. So, with the magic power of MegaLogViewer, I went ahead and created a custom PID to plot the noise level target. So this is basically looking at RPM, and it's running a formula so you can see how much higher or lower the actual noise level is. So we could probably stand to lower it in the, let's say here, 4,600 to 6,300 RPM range. So we're gonna try that. We're gonna bump the table in there. So all at 45 to, what did I say, 63, let's go all the way there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna add 3 to those cells right there for cylinder number 1. All right. Now, it's not super vital. There are actually adaptive gains that happen while you're driving because the car knows it should be, at that noise level target, and it's going to dynamically try to change that as you're driving. And that's another thing that I'm logging. If you log the adaptive gains right here, you can see that when you're driving, this adaptive gain is going up. 5, 6, 7, 8. So this gain value directly corresponds to what is on these tables. The only downside is that gain is not the fastest thing in the world, and in order to use that effectively, or even anytime that you're tuning knock sensors, you really want to make sure that the car is 100% fully up to temperature. I don't mean just take it out until the oil's hot. I mean like driving the car heat-soaked highway for like 20 to 25 plus minutes before you bother messing with any of this stuff. Otherwise, it's going to drive you nuts trying to tune things. So that cylinder 1 I think is taken care of. The other way you can adjust things is by playing with the threshold values. The thresholds are right here, the knock detection threshold factors. Let me close out these other ones. So the knock detection threshold factors, this is the one for cylinder number 1, and there's also the threshold factor for when knock is being detected. So if you want to raise the thresholds, you can do that. Typically, if your noise level of your knock sensors is in a decent place, not going over like 1.5 volts. Like honestly, mine aren't that terrible in the grand scheme of things, but I'm gonna try tuning the gains instead of tuning the thresholds. It's just a different way of doing things. I haven't done this before, so I'm learning along the way too. But previously, what I did on my last calibrations, I pretty much, in the higher RPM range, I pretty much just did a blanket, multiply by, so 1.1. So if you wanted to add 10% to the thresholds, you would just do that. I'm not going to save that because, like I said, I'm trying to play with the gains to normalize the knock sensor noise levels and hoping that that works out better for me this time. But that's basically the process of playing around with the knock sensors. All right, so just for the heck of it, let's take a look at the other 4 knock sensors. We're gonna go ahead and look at all of the noise levels at once, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and we'll leave that there. So we can see here that cylinders, actually I'm gonna go ahead and hide cylinder 1 since we've already messed with that one. So we can see here that cylinder 3, because it's NL2, is pretty high in the 3,000 to 4,000 range. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the gain tables and let's take a look at let's look at the commanded gain for, what is that, 2, cylinder number 3, Knox gain 2. So that value is going up 4, 5, 6. So we'll try adding about 2 in that range right there. So, what did I say? Was it 4,000 to 5,000? 3,000 to 4,000. All right, so and that was cylinder number 3 or index 2. So 3,000 to 4,000, we're going to go ahead, we'll add 2. Yeah, we'll add 2 right there and see what happens. All right, so with that cylinder taken care of, we'll move that one. All right, and then the last one are cylinders 2 and 4. These two are pretty high in the 5 to 6,300 RPM range. So 2 and 4 right there. Oops, wrong one. So these ones are going from, let's see, cylinder 2 is increasing by 1 over that range, and cylinder 4 is increasing by 2. So I'll just go ahead and add 2 to both of them as a starting point. Doesn't take much. And that is again from 5,000 and up. So hopefully that stuff all works out well. Like I said, this is the first time I'm playing with the gains. I previously messed with the thresholds the first time around when I did the tune, because that was what a lot of people said to do. That was what a lot of people do. So hopefully this works out well. All right, so with all of those tables edited, we're gonna go ahead and save this file. I am going to flash it to my car and log it, and we'll look at it next time.